Hey guys, this is Sean from Playersingreen, giving you another tutorial on lighting. And this time we're going to be creating a lighting source. It's a little bit different from the last tutorial where I show you how to kind of do lighting, and we'll also be getting into more layer masks and how they work. If you don't know how to use them, hopefully you'll learn somewhat how to use them in this. But creating a light source can be extremely important in some designs because you're not always going to have a background that has a direct lighting source, or you'll have a background that has multiple lighting sources. So hopefully in this design I can show you, in this tutorial, I can show you how to create a lighting source and then do all the lighting with it afterwards, including the scenery, the landscape, and the person. So before we start, I wanted to show you some designs of mine where I had created my own lighting. One being in this shack design where I took this image of the city and I got this image of a sunset and some mountains and brought it all together. And I had taken the orangey sunset feel and put it on the city and into Shaquille O'Neal here by lighting, the highlights around him with the orange and the dark shading in the back like I had covered in the last one. I also added all the shading and the lighting in the city as well. In this Shumpert design, this had multiple lighting sources. Obviously you see light here, it's New York City, you got lights everywhere. I added the lighting to the cop car with the lights here in the front and the siren, the lights on top. And then I had a, have a red here and a blue here for the lights here, and then this greenish light that has been throughout the image. So this is multiple lighting sources, and then again a lighting source I had created with the lightning that is shadowed, highlighted on the players on the right here. It's coming from kind of a behindish right angle, and it kind of carries throughout the whole design here. And there's a little bit of shadow and some reflections on the boards on the deck. But those are just some examples of lighting. So now let's get into this tutorial and how we're going to create our light source. So this is our finished product, and this is what we're starting with. So first thing you'll need is this background. If you do not have it, you can download the links below for this background and the players and Jeff Green. And if not, you can do your own thing. I also have the brush set you'll need for this, for the lighting, and that's the first thing we're going to do when we get started. Here is we're going to take our brush, scroll down, and we're going to create our light source. So you go to your lighting brushes that you downloaded, hopefully. If not, maybe you're just following along. And we're going to create our own light. So put one there. Alright, so there's our light source. Nice direct overhead light on Jeff Green. And with the overhead light, you're going to have a lot of highlights on top of you, and you're going to have a lot of dark shadows below you. So like everything below his arms being crossed right there is going to be extremely dark. And his top of the head should be lit, everything kind of around him, and his arms here will be lit, because you have to think as a three-dimensional object, his arms are sticking out past his head, so those will still be lit, although his neck won't be lit because it won't be showing. The shadow should be from his chin. So let's duplicate Jeff Green just like we have in the past tutorial. I showed you how to do this. We go in adjustments, exposure, you're going to make him dark. Alright, I like what we got there. And now we're going to create our lighting. And this is a little bit different from last time. Last time we just erased because I didn't know who knew masking layers and how to use them and whatnot. This time we're going to use the masking layers. So what you're going to do is, if you don't have them masked, I would recommend looking up how to do it. I'm not going to do it now. Maybe I'll make a tutorial on masking if you guys really need it. Is you select your masking layer now, or you can erase if you want. And you're going to use the black, and what this is going to do is it's going to delete everything around them, but it's not really going to permanently delete them. It's only going to temporarily delete them. The way you can bring it back is by going to white, and see there it's shaded again. it's kind of something really cool. Like instead of erasing, you don't lose it forever. All you have to do is you take the white and go over it. So let's keep shading here. So obviously on the top of his head, a little bit on the side of his head, not as much. Right here. On the arms, definitely on the arms, definitely right here. Oh, whoa. Here. Alright, we don't want everything to be too bright because we want to have some nice contrast here. So lower the opacity a bit. Lower it even more. We really don't want this to... So we're just trying to create the shadow of his head almost, because everything around here should be shaded for the most part. Let's bring this back out a little bit. Alright, so we're getting the shape down. Getting some nice lighting. Yeah, the side of his arm should be kind of highlighted, not 100% because it is up top and not from behind like our last tutorial was. So now we're going to make our brush even smaller and we're going to zoom into his face, because on his face he would actually have some highlights, specifically on his cheekbone. His cheek would definitely be sticking out. Under his eye would be dark. His nose would have some lighting as well. Even a little bit of his upper lip. I'm going to make this even smaller and the brush a little bit bigger. The opacity a little bit smaller, I'm sorry. So we can blend it a little bit better. And there we go, we have some nice shading up here on the top of his face, some nice highlights. And what we want to do now is down here you have this outline, which you don't want. I mean, he would have a little bit of lighting here on the sides, not much. So we can create a tad bit of some lighting, but this would for the most part be completely shaded. And then on the top of his shoe, because that would be sticking out, he would have some lighting as well, but not a ton. It would still be fairly dark. And to get rid of this outline around here, just go to that masking layer, go to the white, and the white will take care of that. Oh, I'm sorry, the black. Oh, my opacity's low. That's why. Alright, we'll take out this nice little, take out that. So now we have he's really dark. We really captured kind of the lighting, the dramatic feel that you get here with this. And also what we want to do is, because this is going to be dark right here, this should be a little bit darker. And these are details you have to pay attention to. You want to subtract this from the layer below. So take that black brush and kind of, I'm sorry, that white brush, and darken it a little bit more. There you go. So you have this dramatic looking Jeff Green now and somewhat of this landscape, but what we're missing is there should be a light here, and the background already is kind of lit, which is unfortunate. I really wanted to light that for you guys, but it kind of matches the light already. So we'll do the lighting down here, and you also need a shadow. So let's go to this layer here, duplicate it as always. Let's change the exposure to low. Make it pretty dark. So this is a pitch black room. Let's go in, take our brush, make sure we have that selected. And we're just going to create this circle, because that's what that lighting is. It's a circle. And there you go. You got this nice spotlight of where he would be, and now we just need a shadow. So for a shadow, create a new layer, take a black brush, make it sure it's feathered, probably smaller than this, make it 25. And because it's direct, it's going to be right below him, the shadow, and you want to make sure you get his arms because they were crossed. Maybe a bit of a circle on the back for his head and in the front. There you go. You have this dark shadow, and you want to just lower the opacity a tad bit, but not too much because it is a very dark piece. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the opacity and go over the edges to blend it a little bit better. It's really not that blended well. And there you have this solid Jeff Green dramatic looking figure now. Some nice lighting. And you can make a design out of this if you want. And what I would also do is, now that you've done this all, I would merge all these layers. So Control E, for those who don't know it. Oh, and the background. I forgot the background. And you take your filter, render lighting effects, and there's actually a lighting effect just for this. It's called the floodlight, and you want to really like play around with the settings here to get that floodlight to look like how you want. So unfortunately, like, the preview is so small, so you kind of have to go back and forth sometimes. But I like what we got there. Like, it made it a little bit more dramatic, changed it up a little bit. I love playing with the settings here. You can really create some nice lighting. And I would make sure you put a lot of time into this. You can really change the ambiance, the exposure in here as well. So you really create a dark figure. But you want to still have the spotlight down here, because there would be a nice spotlight. His shoes aren't really darkened enough. I mean, these are small, minor details you want to make sure you capture. I mean, I'm doing this tutorial in 15 minutes. I don't have time to go into all the details. But this is like overhead shadowing, overhead lighting. It's something that's really cool. We don't see it that often, but you can really get some nice designs out of lighting like this. And this is just an example of how you create a light source. So hopefully I'll get into more detailed things going forward, like multiple lighting sources, and that should be my next tutorial. And then the details of how you would work with creating light sources with light sources that are already in the background. But thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to my channel, Playersingreen, and follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Thanks, guys.